Okay, welcome guys. Let me just change this. So we are officially live. Welcome to the pre-market overview, Wednesday, July 15th, middle of the trading week. Hope you guys are doing well so far. And then obviously we've got stuff coming up today and coming up for the next couple of days to see how things go. Just to remind you guys, if you don't already know, my name is Becky. You can email me if you have any questions about what I cover today, becky@tradewithufos.com, or otherwise you have the support team. Those guys are better, they're quicker at responding. So email those guys, support@tradewithufos.com. So just to cover what we're actually gonna go over today, just for those that have maybe never joined us on the pre-market overview before. The main reason that we go through it all is we are looking at our newsletter. So it's a document that we send out every day. If you're not already subscribed, you can email us newsletter@tradewithufos.com and we will get you subscribed to that. What we go through in the newsletter are 4 of the major markets in the world, what direction they're moving in at the moment, where they could turn, volatility, how long they could be moving in a particular direction, and high impact news that could affect them. And then in the pre-market overview, we sort of discuss that in a little bit more depth and explain it a little bit more every day, 15-20 minutes. So we'll go through quite a lot in the time that we have together. So before I start, a couple of things I need to go through. So just a reminder for those that are joining us from within the Tradictive channel, today being a Wednesday, you have a future session at 9 a.m. Eastern, and you will have an option session at 1 p.m. Eastern. After that, we can see that on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have stocks and investing sessions, so you can join us on those, 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. Eastern respectively. And then sharpening sessions over the weekend. Sharpening sessions are going to be reinforcing methodology, going over concepts, and also psychology sessions as well, which are extremely, extremely important. In terms of upcoming live courses, the next one we have is the backtesting class. That's this weekend. It's me taking that one actually, just by chance. It's me taking the class over the weekend. And what we do in backtesting is we look at how we can take a strategy and rather than implement it now and wait real time to see how long or to see whether it works, which could take months before we really know, is to just apply it to past data and be much more efficient in figuring out whether or not it works and what things we might need to tweak. So that's what we'll cover on the weekend. Hopefully I'll see a few of you guys there. After that, we have the futures course, the stocks course, psychology, and then trading plans. So you can have a look at those dates there whilst I read the disclaimers, and then we'll crack on and go through the newsletter. Okay, so the following videos, clips, demonstrations are for educational and instructional purposes only. Tradictive provides these videos purely for the purpose of demonstrating a method of using the product. Users understand that all the content used in the video is purely for demonstration purposes only and is not a guide and does not provide any indication or prediction of actual results. As a user, you understand and agree that hypothetical results obtained through the demonstration do not indicate in any way the results you may receive on using our products. The following presentation is for educational purposes only. All the symbols and trading ideas discussed are for demonstrating and are not recommendations. Active options and futures trading carries a high degree of risk and may not be suitable for all traders. Past historical trading performance of real or simulated trading does not guarantee success and may not be indicative of future results. You Can Trade is an online media publication service which provides educational investment content and ideas along with live trading demonstrations and does not provide investment or trading advice, research or recommendations of any kind. Please visit www.youcantrade.com for additional disclosure information. Great, now we've got that done. Let's move on and have a look at the newsletter. So that's what we have here. Like I said, if you're not already subscribed to get this, email us newsletter@tradewithufos.com and you'll get this sent to you every day. Obviously the updated ones every day. As I said, we go through the 4 major markets in the world. So we have the S&P, one of the major equity indexes, oil and gold, both commodities, and the euro, which is a currency. Now with the euro, we're looking at the euro versus the US dollar, which is the highest traded currency pair in the world. Forex is the highest traded asset class in the world. And the US dollar itself, just by itself, is responsible for about 80% of all transactions across the markets every single day. So between these 4 markets, obviously specifically more with the dollar, we've covered quite a lot of what goes on. Whether or not you trade them directly, I'm sure they will have impact or correlation with some of the markets that you may trade. You'll notice as well that we're going to be going through a daily time frame with each of these markets. Again, different things happen on different time frames. So obviously, if you trade really, really small time frames or really, really big time frames, maybe this won't necessarily line up with what you do. But for most people, the daily chart is something that they look at or it is involved in their decision making. So you'll see that for each of them, just going to clear that up before I explain. We're looking at climate, which basically what we mean by climate is trend or market environment. In what direction is the market moving in? Propagating, which is how long can we expect that market to continue to move in that direction. We all know that trends don't last forever, so we need to have an idea of if a trend is going in a particular direction, when is it likely to turn? You know, the trend is your friend till the bend in the end. So when are we likely to near the bend in the end? We are using the ᴾᴿᴱMARKET app to help us understand these figures. I'll show you that on the chart in a minute. We're also going to look at our nearest UFOs. UFO stands for unfilled orders. What we mean by unfilled orders is where we have buy orders that could turn price back up, waiting to be filled. And we have sell orders that could turn price back down. We use the Auto UFO app that's going to help us find these on a chart and identify to us where there could be orders that are likely to turn the direction of price. So we'll look at that on a chart. We'll also come down and understand about volatility, how fast markets are moving and how far we could expect them to move within certain periods of time. After that, we'll move on to have a look at high impact news. So let's start with the S&P. That's the first market we look at. We are using SPX.X. That's the symbol that we're using here. So let's open that up here. Sorry, I'm on the wrong one there. So SPX.X. Oh, wrong one. Gonna have to wait for this to load. I've got a little bit of data coming in there. So whilst that's loading, I will just explain what volatility is so that when I come back to it later, it makes sense whilst that's loading in the background. So volatility just means how fast we expect prices to move. So it comes from the implied volatility numbers that we get from the options of these markets. So options are normally traded by professional traders. They're setting the price of the options by what they're willing to buy and sell it for. What they're willing to buy and sell it for is going to be linked to how fast they think it's going to move, because inherent in that is the risk that they might be taking with the being exercised or assigned in these options. So basically, if you haven't traded options before, don't worry. It's just a long way around of saying that the volatility numbers that we have here reflect what professional traders think in terms of the movement of these markets. So we look at, with the S&P, we're looking at VIX.X. So we'll do volatility now, and then hopefully it will be loaded by the time we come back up to look at the ᴾᴿᴱMARKET. So we're looking at VIX.X. That's the chart that we use to get the data for the implied volatility here. Everything in this column is annualized. So all the percentages numbers, all the numbers that are percentages are annualized numbers. They tell us what we expect to happen in a year. So this top one here tells us that we would expect a movement on the S&P either up or down in one day of 31.15%. Sorry, up or down in 1 year of 31.15%, which means in one day, if we reverse engineer it, we expect a movement up or down of 62.74 points. In a week, we would expect a movement up or down of 138.12 points. And in a month, we would expect a movement up or down of 287.53 points. Okay, so let's just go back to our chart there and see what we're looking at. Here we are. Okay. Right, so as I said before, we've got our ᴾᴿᴱMARKET app on the bottom here. So the ᴾᴿᴱMARKET app is what's telling us about trend, about market direction, and about how long we could expect it to go on for. So the ᴾᴿᴱMARKET app on this chart of the S&P is showing us a thick blue dot. Now, being a blue dot, it's telling us that we're in an upwards trend, an upwards environment, upwards movement, and being a thick dot tells us that that trend, that climate is confirmed, meaning that we have probabilities on our side here. So if we were to get into a trade that followed that climate, we have higher probability than if it was an unconfirmed climate. Now, in terms of UFOs, whilst we're still on the chart, where can we expect there to be orders that could turn price? We have this stack of buy orders here, 2955.45 to 2933.59. That's the closest stack of buy orders that has been found by the Auto UFO app, showing there as a green UFO. Closest stack of sell orders above here, 3373.23 to 3393.52. Again, closest stack of sell orders that could turn price down. We're about here, so I guess 2/3 of the way, maybe just over halfway between those things, between those UFOs. It'll be interesting to see, not really being close to any big stacks of orders, the movement that we do have on the S&P today. So let's have a look in terms of propagating. So we saw that we had a confirmed upwards climate. That's shown here to us on our newsletter by being just a thick green arrow. By the way, none of the climates today are unconfirmed, but if they were unconfirmed, they show on the newsletter. I can draw that fine with a little cross next to that arrow. So considering there's no crosses, and that just shows us that we have confirmed climates all around today. So propagating gives us an idea of how long we would expect this market to continue to go up. So all of these numbers on the right I'm just going to round them up. So whatever the decimal place, I'm always just going to round it to the next round number. So what this means here is that we would expect the S&P to go up for 11 days in a row. So 11 candles on a daily chart. And we're on candle number 9. So yes, we have a confirmed climate, but we are coming to the end of what is statistically likely for this climate to keep going up. Still a couple of days based on the averages and statistics here. And of course, we could surpass it. We'll see a bit later that sometimes things don't go to plan exactly as we think. Yeah, we could surpass it, we'll see. But just bear in mind, the longer we go towards the average there, the longer we go towards what is statistically likely, the less likely it is to keep happening. We'll come back to that concept a little bit later. Okay, so we already did the S&P in terms of volatility. So let's just move straight on to oil. So we're looking at CL. That is the continuous futures contract for oil. So let's take a look here. Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to have to scrunch this quite a lot so that we can see our UFOs. There we go. Okay. So sorry that it's scrunched, but hopefully you can understand what I'm saying and what I'm showing to you. So at the bottom here, once again, thick blue dot, confirmed upwards climate. So probabilities on our side for a move to the upside. Now, closest bar UFOs, just down here, we actually have 2 nestled on top of each other. That's why it looks a little bit crunched together there. The top numbers are 25.87 to 25.36. Closest stack of sell orders is here. So the closest sell UFO or red UFO is 53.39 to 55.27. As we can see, we're pretty much in the middle of that, not really doing anything. We haven't really moved very much on oil for the last week or coming up to 2 weeks, I guess. So we are sort of in the middle, not surprising considering we haven't had any close UFOs to move it one way or the other. We do have a confirmed upwards climate again, so that might push price to the upside, but we'll see. Of course, sometimes new orders can come into the markets and change things. Sometimes unexpected things happen. We use the Alta UFO app and the Alta Climate app to just help put us as many probabilities on our side as we can and put odds in our favor. Okay, so let's just understand movement on oil. What can we expect in terms of movement on oil? So we use OVX.X to give us the idea of, to give us the numbers of movement on oil. So we can see from that we would expect a movement in 1 year up or down of 53.41%, which means in 1 day, a movement up or down of 1.37 points. In a week, a movement up or down of 3.02 points. And in 1 month, a movement up or down of 6.30 points. Okay, so moving on to at GC, that is the continuous futures contract for gold. That's the market we're going to use here. Now, so the reason I did that before is that there's quite a lot of data on gold that we need to load in order to get the figures with the closest sell UFO. So I'll just tell you the sell UFO on the newsletter here, so we won't be able to see it on the chart today. Once again, we have a thick blue dot, so telling us we're in a confirmed upwards climate. Closest bar UFO is here, that's 1668.3 to 1647.0. The closest sell UFO is up here somewhere. I'll tell you that on the newsletter. So let's take a look at that. So on the newsletter, we can see here that the numbers for the closest sell UFO are 1863.6 to 1879.0. So that's the closest stack of sell orders that could turn price back down. Now, remember I said before, sometimes things go out of probability, sometimes they surpass what is statistically likely. We are seeing that on gold very much at the moment. So we have, normally, gold would go up for 6 candles on a daily chart, and it's been going up for 25. So we are way past what is average, way past what is normal. Bearing in mind, like with an elastic band, the more you pull it, the more likely it is to contract and do the opposite. So we, yes, have probabilities on our side with a confirmed climate, but the more and more we keep pushing this number, the less likely it is to keep going, more likely to get to the bend at the end of our trend. Again, that's not to say this can't keep going. We've been saying this for obviously a couple of weeks now. This is overextended and it's just kept going. So it'll be interesting to see at what point we actually do turn. It might be when we come up to the stack of sell orders that are here. We might even push through that as well. We'll see. I think I said on oil, but I'm just going to repeat it if I didn't. We can see here that with oil, it goes up normally for 7 candles on a daily chart, and we're on candle number 1. So with oil, we have a little bit of probabilities on our side that this could continue, as well as having a confirmed upwards climate. Now, I'm just going to go back to gold whilst we understand volatility. So we're looking at GVZ.X or GVZ.X. That's the chart that we use to get the figures for gold. Now we can see here that we would expect a movement on gold up or down in 1 year of 16.53%, which means in 1 day, a movement up or down of 18.8 points. In a week, a movement up or down of 41.5 points. And in a month, a movement up or down of 86.3 points. Okay, so last but not least, let's have a look here at the euro dollar. So euro versus the US dollar, that is the spot forex for that market. As I said, the highest traded currency pair in the world. So let's take a look at that. Make sure we're on the right tab there. So euro USD. Okay. So again, I'm just going to move this around a little bit just so that we can see what we need to see. There we go. So once again, thick blue dot on our Auto Climate app telling us that we're in a confirmed uptrend. Now, closest stack of buy orders, closest buy UFO, this one just here. Numbers are 1.1342 to 1.1255. Again, I've just rounded that to where it needs to be. As we can see, we've obviously got quite a few stacks of buy orders on top of each other. So we've got all of these that we're seeing here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just that we can see on this chart. And as we can see, exactly what we would expect here. I might not be able to see it because we've got loads of things going on at the same time, but quite a few times we've had price hit these buy UFOs and go up, come back, hit the buy UFO and go up, create a new buy UFO, hit it and go up. That's exactly what we expect the UFOs to do. If it's a buy UFO, we expect it to push price up if price does come back. So as we said here, this top one is the closest stack of buy orders that we have on the chart at the moment. Closest stack of sell orders, closest sell UFO, 1.1740 to 1.1816. Okay, so let's just understand propagating again. So we have here another market that has surpassed what is normal, surpassed what the average is. We can see here that normally the euro US dollar would go up for 4 candles on a daily chart, and we are on candle number 8. So twice as long as what is normal. Again, that's not to say it's going to turn today because it's hit that. It could keep going. We've seen with gold, you know, that's 4 times overextended. We never know. And obviously we're not really close to any sell UFOs at the moment. But just like we said before, bear in mind, the longer we surpass the average, the longer we surpass what is statistically likely, the less likely it is to happen. So yes, we have a confirmed climate. So we have probabilities on our side here, but we are losing probabilities when it comes to the propagating figures. So again, it'd be interesting to see if any more new UFOs come into the market and change the direction of price there. So in terms of movement on the euro, what could we expect? We're using EVZ.X or EVZ.X. Here we can see we'd expect a movement up or down in 1 year on the euro of 6.88%, which means a movement up or down in a day of 50 pips, a movement up or down in a week of 109 pips, a movement up or down in a month of 227 pips. Okay, so like we said before, these numbers here just give us an idea of how far price is likely to move within these given periods of time. The climate and the propagating gives us an idea of in what direction and for how long. And the UFOs give us an idea of where price could turn, so where those climates could turn around. Okay, so I'm just going to come down here and just cover high impact news that we have coming out for the rest of the week. Obviously yesterday being Tuesday, the 14th of July, we had some news come out on consumer price index. You can see the figures that are in here. Like we've said before, under this actual column, once the figures come out, you'll see them showed. If they've not come out yet, it just remains blank. Okay. Now we are using fxstreet.com/economic-calendar to get these figures. We filter it by high impact news and by US markets. So if you trade outside of those parameters, you can go to that link and you can play about with the filters so that you can see things that might fit your trade plan a bit better. On the left-hand side, you'll see the time of day that this comes out. This is all in Eastern Standard Time. So obviously we have nothing today, but tomorrow on Thursday, we will have at 8:30 a.m. Some retail sales control group report. So again, bear in mind, news is an indirect force in the market. The most direct force that moves price are buy and sell orders. That's it. Of course, there can be many reasons for those buy and sell orders, and news is one of them. Definitely has an impact on the markets, but obviously just bear it in mind with your trade plan that it is an indirect force, and obviously use that information as you will for your own trade plan. So a couple of reminders before we round off. If you're not already part of the subscription and accessing our futures and options, stocks, investing, sharpening, support sessions, whatever, you can join us at www.tradective.com/youcantrade. We have 14-day free access, so you have a couple of weeks to check us out first, see if you like us, see if what we do makes sense to you first. In terms of upcoming courses, of course, we have the backtesting course. That's the next one. Like I said, that's my one that I'm doing this weekend, July 18th to 19th. If you have questions about it, you can email us, support@tradective.com, or if you have questions about anything else, always support@tradective.com. Hopefully see a few of you there. Just to say, you can register for any course and get an additional course for free. So you might want to go to the website because the additional course has to be equal or lesser value. So you might want to go to the website and sort of play about with that there so that you can make sure you get the most out of that offer. So today being Wednesday, we'll see you 9 a.m. Eastern for futures. We'll see you 1 p.m. Eastern for options. And we will see you at 4:15 p.m. where my colleague Boyan will be looking at what did happen in the markets, what went as expected. Did we see anything sort of out of the ordinary that happened, or did it follow what we thought? That'll be 4:15 p.m. Eastern. I'll be back again tomorrow morning to have a look at what we could see coming up. Again, if you need us for anything, it's support@tradective.com. Otherwise, guys, have a brilliant day in the markets. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.